All right, guys, we're going to be talking a lot tonight. Now, the internet was hit with a very interesting Switch 2 situation, to say the least. What we're looking at here is thegamebusiness.com and their article that they posted dealing with the Switch 2 and third party games and the numbers that came out. Now, not only did this hit their own website, but it made its way to Twitter to where people were just talking and conversing about what's going on. Now, I'm going to list all these links below so that way you guys could also read it as well. But we're going to go over the article together. So it was the biggest console launch of all time, but was Nintendo Switch 2 a success for third parties? Well, let's see. Let's scroll down. And by the way, you guys are going to see me looking to the right like this because I'm looking at my second monitor and I'm kind of making sure everything's situated for you guys. So they start off with saying after a good 6 weeks of traveling around and working on events, it was nice to get back into the normal rhythm of things. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let's start right here. Was Switch 2 a success for third-party publishers? One of the big conversations around Nintendo Switch 2 is whether the machine would deliver for third parties. Major companies including EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sega, Capcom, Bandai, Namco, Square Enix, CD Projekt, and Konami have committed support for the platform. Okay, and they've talked about how Nintendo is actively trying to push third-party games this time around. Seems pretty good so far. Now, hold up. I'm actually going to scroll up and be right here. The launch of Switch 2 was huge with 3.5 million consoles sold in just a few days, making it the fastest selling games machine in history. That's true. It outdid a lot of places, a lot of different consoles. So we know that Mario Kart World was clearly the number one game. But what about those third-party releases? Games such as Cyberpunk 2077, Bravely Default, Hitman, Street Fighter, Hogwarts, Civilization, Split Fiction, Sonic, Yakuza, and so on. Well, I'm going to vouch for this, guys. A lot of people on the internet are saying that the game key cards are an issue. I happen to have bought Bravely Default and Yakuza. And if you see right here, it's a little blurry. Oh, let me see if it's a game key card. That doesn't tell you right there. Like you can see the little. Oh, let me hold it this way. You guys see that little key in the corner? Yeah, this is a game key card. Like what this is just a little bit of data on the key card itself, saying that you can download the rest of the game on the console. Now, this has been going on for a long time, not just with Nintendo but other consoles for a while. But the fact that it hit Nintendo, people are raving about it, which I think is kind of like ridiculous. Like, guys, there are plenty of games you can buy out there, like Doom. Doom is one of them, where you buy the game, or Call of Duty. Call of Duty is notorious. You literally just take the disc, put it in the console, and then they go buck wild and they tell you whether or not how much the file is to download. I mean, it's been going on for a while. But the fact is, Nintendo did it, and now that Nintendo's done it, they're like people are mad. And they're blaming the game key cards. They're like, this is the game key cards' fault. This is why they're not doing good. But I don't think that's the whole entire truth. So we're going to dive into what this article will talk about and see why the internet's raving one way and the articles are different. So, what are the numbers? 62% of Switch physical game sales in the U.S. launch week were from the first-party games, excluding the Mario Kart World bundle. 48% of Switch 2 physical games sales in the U.K. were from the first-party games, excluding the World Bundle as well. 86% of Switch 2 physical game sales in the UK were from first-party games, including the Mario Kart World Bundle. By comparison of the launch of Switch 1, 89% of UK physical games were from first-party games. And for the launch of the launch month of Switch 1 in the US, 81% of physical game sales were from first-party games as well. So it sounds like everybody is just going ham on all these first-party games during the release of the Switch 1. Now, CD Projekt Cyberpunk 2077 was the best-selling third-party game during the launch of Switch 2, beating launch sales of their project The Witcher 3 on Switch 1. Ooh, that's a big one. Reason why that's a big one is because you can see a little bit of something going on here. Like, they're starting, like, third parties are giving great quality work, but specifically, we had Witcher 3 on the Switch 1, and it was not the best port, but Cyberpunk 2077 is great. Sega was the number 3 biggest publisher on Switch 2 at launch, which is true. And when it comes to games released both physically and digitally, over 80% of Switch 2 games came from physical retailers. Wow. So you're telling me that people are buying Switch 2 games. Okay. From physical instead of download. So people are out there. They're collecting. I'm a collector too. I wish I had more games to grab. Like, here, let me grab. Like, I believe in physical media. Like, especially, like, I'm an Ys fan. If you guys don't know what Ys is, it's a great series. I drive my family nuts with how much I like it. Physical games, I will always vouch for over digital because once, like, those markets close or something happens, people tend to be like, oh, no, my game. If you have a physical, I can't stress this, a physical, and I'm trying not to yawn. If you have a physical game, like all of it on a cart, most people 99% of the time seem to want to buy it. It says it right here in the article, over 80% of Switch 2 games sales came from physical retailers. So people are preferring that over digital. So what do the numbers mean? Although third-party publishers appear to have done slightly better during the launch of Switch 2 compared to Switch 1, it's hard to describe these statistics as positive. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates despite strong hardware sales. Wow. The improvement of the Switch 1 launch is also slightly misleading. For starters, there were more consoles sold this time, plus the Switch 1 only launched with 5 physical games, which were The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, Just Dance 2017, Skylanders, and Super Bomberman. Now, the Switch 2 had a lot more with 13 physical games. As usual, there are a number of things to consider with these early figures. Around 80% of all Switch 2 console sales were of the Mario Kart World bundle, and we would expect some of the remaining 20% also picked up Mario Kart World. People buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games, and it would be expected that new users, particularly those who are buying a Nintendo console on day one, would begin with a Nintendo software. As a result, it's possible third-party game sales will occur once players have had their fill of Mario Kart. Okay, that's a great way to think of it. Meanwhile, Nintendo did not send out Switch 2 units to media ahead of release. That meant there were no reviews for any of these third-party titles at launch. For consumers who may have wanted to pick up a second game along Mario Kart, there were no critical reviews available for... Sorry, I'm yawning. For the to base their purchasing decisions on. That's true. One of the drawbacks for third-party publishers, in fact, is the Switch 2 is backwards compatible with some older games, including popular titles like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, receiving technical improvements on the new hardware. In other words, even if Switch 2 owners are looking at other games to play post-Mario Kart, they have other options available beyond the slate of third parties. This is not the case for the Nintendo Switch 1. That's true. Like, honestly, I do play a lot of my games that are backwards compatible on the Switch 2. It does come out smoother and better. It's just me. Oh, now here we go. Look at this. It's also noting that all Switch 2 third-party games were ports of older games. Considering the crossover between Switch owners and PlayStation and Xbox, it's not unreasonable to suggest that a lot of the Switch 2 owners already own these titles. What's more, many of the titles are using game key cards, which require users to download the game once they put the cartridge in. This is proven unpopular amongst core audiences who appreciate the plug-and-play nature of Nintendo Switch. It's nowhere that Cyberpunk 2077, the one third-party game that has done reasonable numbers, runs off the cartridge and doesn't require download. Here's a quote from the interview with them. This was from Jan Rosner. A plug-and-play experience is a really cool thing, he told us last month. We've already seen from the original Switch that Nintendo players are quite receptive to that. He added, do not underestimate the physical edition. It's not going anywhere, and Nintendo players are very appreciative of physical editions that are done right. We'll be keeping a close eye on third-party game performance on Nintendo Switch 2 in the weeks and months to come. So, as you can see, some people will talk about the game key cards. Yes, it's amazing they got all of it of Cyberpunk on there. But, again, I don't think it's the entire reason why people are not selling as much. I think it's that their old games being ported. That's just my opinion. Again, totally up to what you guys think. So let's kind of go on this. So this led to Wario64 on Twitter. Shout out to Wario. He posted the business article. And a lot of people just started piling on. Like, there's comments, like, all over the place. Like, all over the place. People are talking smack about it. But one in particular was a Daniel Ahmad, Zooge X, okay. So many people are taking Cyberpunk 2077 at the number one to me that no one is buying game key cards. That's not the full story. Going to break it down in this post. The launch mirrors the Switch 1 launch in early years where every port of the third-party games did not necessarily sell well. Only newer exclusive Switch 1 games from third parties sold well. Cyberpunk, being the number one selling third-party game, is not unexpected given it was a technical showcase for third-party games on Switch 2, and is already the best-selling on other platforms versus the other games in the third-party lineup. Yeah, he is right. It was great. It runs beautifully. It's smooth, but it's literally showcasing what this console can do. Now, Mario Kart World, like Breath of the Wild, was the game to buy for Switch 2 with an 80% attach rate. Even with Cyberpunk being the best-selling third-party game, its attach rate in the individual attach rate of all third-party games was less than 5%. In other words, Switch 2 buyers were satisfied with Mario Kart World and legacy Switch 1 titles at launch and did not buy any other games in high numbers. Game key cards are maybe the fourth or fifth factor why third-party games didn't sell well. Not to mention that while Cyberpunk was popular, other third games like Street Fighter weren't far behind. It's true, Street Fighter is a key card game and it's actually selling well. Now, the reality is that the key cards aren't a major issue in the grand scheme of things outside of enthusiast circles and having physical versions of the game. That requires you to download the game. It isn't an issue for the majority of games. Should all physical games have the game key cartridge? Of course. Should games advocate for digital ownership rights for digital games? Of course. Will more games have a full physical release? Yes, once Nintendo ramps up manufacturing for cartridges and lower royalty fees. But as above, the game card issue isn't the only reason for low third-party sales in general. Cyberpunk being number one. So, like, as you can see here, there's Hitman, Puyo Puyo, Bravely Default, Sonic Shadow Generations, Yakuza, and Street Fighter. Like, everybody has their opinion, guys, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that you can see that there's a whole article of things going on just because people are seeing the forecast. They're seeing what's going on, and they're curious. Now, let me, you're going to see this here. What I'm trying to get to, guys, is to talk about, let me fix my camera. Oh, I turned off the camera here. You guys are seeing all the defaults. So what I'm getting at, guys, is that Nintendo has a bunch of games that are coming out. They will be showcasing them. People are thinking it's just the game key card drama and that it's all the BS that's going around. That's the only reason why the sales are bad. No, it's just that they're old games. Like, I'm going to be honest. I have Cyberpunk on Steam. I'm going to play it on Steam more so than the Switch. Now, would I say no to the Switch 2 version? I mean, I could wait for a sale price, and I think a lot of other people as well. Street Fighter's been out for a few years, and guess what? I play it on PC as well, you know? If you're going to go Yakuza, you can get it on every other older console. Like, and let's not forget, some games like Bravely Default, they got printed out from like the 3DS era, and then they made it as a remaster, but they're more of a download. You just have a game key card for it. Is it a problem? I don't think so. I think as a physical collector, it does kind of suck that we all want the full game on the cart. But if the case is the company is making their decision not to, it's going to be a tough call for a lot of people out there. I mean, what do you guys think? Comment down below. Share. Talk to me. You know that I'm only sharing the news and like the drama that's going on here with Nintendo right now. I'm just learning as much as you guys are. All I did was read an article, listed it right here, and just read it to y'all. I'm just as convinced that game key cards are not doing great, but they're not the whole reason. The main thing is that most of the games that launch are old. We all want to play brand new games. We all do. So the fact that Nintendo's like, here's a 10-year-old game. Here's a 5-year-old game. It's like, okay, we've played it already, or if we have not played it yet, I don't think the big price tag of $60 or $70 will be justifiable. Maybe on a sale it will be. But, you know, again, that's just my opinion. Those are my thoughts. Guys, let me know down below what you think about it. Let me know if you're buying game key cards, if you have a Switch 2, and if you are going to get a Switch 2 or don't have one yet, let me know. Share it with the community. We're here to grow together and talk this out. Until next time, you guys all have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next video.